morning, everyone. Welcome to the month of November. Just a few more days. We go into a few hours. Will be Christmas, December, initially 30th, as we get ready for the Star Radio UK morning show. So, I welcome those of you that have joined us so far. So, we're good to go. We should call Archie now. I say good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Let's start the other platforms quickly. Mo kí gbogbo èèyàn wa tí a ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa káàbọ̀ sórí ètò lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. A kí yín pé àtúkù bójú ọjọ́ ṣe rí láàárọ̀ yìí. And welcome to the finest 103 African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olami Koiki, and I say good afternoon and welcome. So, I welcome us as we're joining. So, should be connecting to the speaker as well. So now, let's call Archie and see where we are. Good morning, everybody. So that animal bag will go out. And I'm literally just a little bit behind schedule, but it's been a long day yesterday. Today is another day, so and we did try our best. Best to go work. It's not easy to be in the media. Sometimes it's long days, sometimes it's short days. Even the way I work from home, I still do so much work. Sometimes the time catch up on you. You can hardly even know that you are literally. So I might bear with us. So I don't know how this system is going to be this morning because Tito Jame look on Tatilo. So we can try a lot, Roy, see how far it can hold. So eventually only crash, then it might crash. So we see how it goes. Archie Tindrode me by. So let me join Archie. Sister me wa pẹ̀lú ẹwà mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀ mo fi kíyàn. Our grandchildren call. It's been a while. I know you're always on YouTube. We love you. We appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Eka join studio, and then we come back and do our own discussion later.
As I just say, Mr. Olami Koiki, who is joining in to bring you wine when it comes to what? Everything. Nigeria. Okay. Wherever you are, something playing in the background, a jazz tune from the Russ Sax. Bring you some jazz this morning as well. But it's now time for us to go to our North London studios where Mr. Olami Koiki is. I think his image is frozen. Not sure about what is happening to his image, but he will definitely. Yes. Okay. Yummy.
A very good morning, Mr. Archie.
Good morning. Okay. It looks like your image is frozen. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's going to come back on in just about a few minutes. Bear with me.
Okay. Listeners, just bear with us whilst we try to get Yummy's image in
system. So system. All right, what's happened? All right, I think it's back now. So let's call Archie back and see.
Okay, whilst we wait for the image to load. Okay. All right. Yes, I can see a bit of movement there. I saw a bit of movement there. I don't know whether it's from my end. Yeah, I can see the blinking of the eye. Okay, so we are good to go. All right, listeners, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Mr. Olayomi Koiki, for you, let's go straight to our North London studios. And I'm saying, Yomi, good morning.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe. And welcome once again to the Star Radio UK network, the end of the month, where we say a very good afternoon to those of you in Nigeria, because it's a different time zone. So it is already afternoon in Nigeria, but we are still 1 hour behind schedule right here in UK. So I say good morning to all our listeners right here in UK. Good morning, Mr. Archie.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing? And how was your journey back home? And how is the lovely family as well?
Well, it's a very, very cold winter. I think it's a little bit more colder this morning because on my way out this morning, you could tell that it is becoming, the winter time. So there's no longer a joke. We have to keep warm. It was a very beautiful journey. I love to travel through, both network. I spoke to you on my way home yesterday. So when I get on the bus, then I change on the overground. Then I decide to come off just some few stops away from the house because I just want to get the view of the nightlife in London. And that means I popped on again on the bus. And that shows that, it doesn't matter what time you travel. You can literally not worried that you might be attacked or you might have some hiccups. So that means going home on the public transport. And one thing I also saw on the overground is like an advert. When the trains are very packed, it is a crime, to keep your body too close to somebody else because that is literally a sexual harassment. So when you're traveling on the public transport, try as much as possible not to move too close to male or female because you could be charged for sexual harassment.
So when you see that the train is
just move your body back.
Somebody has to get a cage. I think I need to create that a cage so that when you stand in it's like the metal around you, so it sees you. So I didn't touch you. It's my cage that is catching you.
Yeah, because we know there are some pedophiles out there that take advantage of the train when they are packed and they probably wants to rob something or something, and it is a sexual harassment. And when I saw that, I was just laughing, because, we've experienced it. Sometimes you're on the train and, some individuals just wants to get too close. And that could be Anthony Adedeji is actually laughing. This is not like the Molwe in Lagos where everybody just touch each other, it's a sexual harassment. I don't know whether Lagos they would have to do something on that, but, I remember Molwe. Fellas say 99 standing, 44, 99 standing, 44 sitting, and that 99 are so packed like sardines.
I remember when I visited Lagos back in the day, I used the mode once, but I said, okay, let's go on this one and see how I feel of it. I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, properly packed. But, well, that is how our transport system is like. But when you look at what is going on here and the way things, so it doesn't matter what time of the day or the night, unless there are some services that have been affected by maybe strikes or something of the sort, you have things moving swiftly and you are able to go about your duties nicely. But can that be said about Nigerians this morning? And that is what we're going to be looking at. But wherever you are listening to us from, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Let me say good morning to all of you on the other sister platforms listening to us as well. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the morning show. I am Archie with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. Now, Nigerians are not interested, are uninterested in budgetary arithmetics. A renowned economist, Bismarck Rwani, says Nigerians are not interested in budgetary figures if the price of basic commodities like rice, bread, curry don't go down. And how even true is that? It is so true. I talk about they come and sit there using all grammar. Let me put it that way. Oh, our GDP for this year has grown by so percentage, and it went up and went to the side, and blah blah blah. We're getting this wrong, blah blah blah, and they say all those stuff. But the woman or the man, that schoolboy who has this morning should have had some bread with some cup of tea or something. Goes and the price is still there. But again, one interesting thing is that they still go vote for these individuals as well, and they come and do the same thing to them. Johnny, tell us more.
Well, you're quite right. We did discuss so much on that on the Niger Voices yesterday. The focus was on the budget of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You were talking about the COP28, which is currently going on in the United Arab Emirates. The president has also arrived there. We'll be telling you what we know so far in terms of the president arriving at that. But the question is, there's so much borrowing as well. The president will be borrowing about almost 8.4 billion US dollars, and likewise almost 100 million euro to fund this budget. This is the first budget of this government. It had a supplementary budget, but this time around, it seems that the renowned economist Rwani is very well known in Nigeria and likewise around the globe. I've been following this individual for a very long time. He's an economist, and he actually said, look, it doesn't matter the arithmetic that you put in there, the figures, the breakdown. We had Bishop Additional giving us the analysis about, this budget, because many Nigerians do not understand what the budget stands for. What they just want to hear is, what is the cost of bread today? What is the cost of gari today? What is the cost of rice? Do I have a job? We outside the country, we're becoming a little bit tired of knowing that there's so much money in the country. They can tell us that there's no money, but the problem is the money tends not to be used properly. And when individuals send you a message, the sympathy there, you don't have it. And sometimes, if you're not careful, you could end up become another poor individual living outside the offshore of Nigeria, because you're trying to keep up and support as many people that you don't even have the means for. Nigerians aren't interested in the budgetary arithmetic as long as if the bread and rice prices don't decrease. Let's talk about it. Renowned economist Bismarck Rwani said Nigerians are not interested in the budgetary figures if the price of the basic, and we're talking about the basic here right now, the basic commodities like the rice, the bread, and the gari don't come down. You might be asking, what takes, a country that has vast amount of land that cannot have so much cassava transformed into gari. But do you know why the gari is not out in the market? It's not because the Fulani terrorists are creating havoc on the farm. It's because cassava is also being sold to the breweries. So that means that more Nigerians are drinking Guinness. You might not get gari in the market. It went further to say, Rwani is the managing director of the Financial Derivatives Company Limited, made this known yesterday during an appearance on one of the morning show in the business sector. He said, and I quote, "In the end, budgetary arithmetic, mathematics in economics is of no use to anybody except when by this time, 6-month time, if we are buying rice at 40,000 naira a bag rather than 60,000 naira a bag, if we are buying bread at 900 naira for a big loaf instead of 1,300, which we are doing today, if we are buying gari at the low prices, the people are not interested in the budget. It's balanced what the debt is. And this morning, at least, we were able to serve bread for the children. I remember my children saying to me, Mom says we must drink orange juice every time we have bread. The question is, how many Nigerian children have even ended up in school, talk less of having orange juice after a toast bread with butter and jam?
Well, listen, let's Star Radio UK. It's interesting. But Bishop Adesina, can you, if you are listening to us, can you just send us a message? Because I want to know, do you think that with the policies that this government is taking at the moment, the laws that they are taking, there's a tendency, you can, maybe a glimmer of hope, that maybe come a year's time, we're going to see that maybe things will turn out a bit better for us, or, as we see, they'd rather raking in the debt, and we are sinking and sinking. Some of you are there, me. Good morning to you. I hope that you are doing very, very well. Listen to Star Radio UK. But every Wednesday at 18 hours, remember Niger Voices, a program that looks in depth into every situation that is happening in Nigeria, comes your way, hosted by Mr. Olaimi Koiki. You don't want to miss out. If you missed out yesterday, go to the Star Radio UK app, just type in Niger Voices. It will pop up and listen to it there. Okay then. Now, so looking at the loans that government is going to be taking, I'm talking about billions. We were talking about $8 billion dollars, and we were talking about 100 million euros and all that. Now, what are these earmarked for?
Well, from what with the what the president said, regarding what these are meant for, it talks about infrastructure. Remember that any country that doesn't have the robust infrastructure. I traveled through, and next week is going to be another very busy one at the COVID center. We've just got an email that confirmed that next week the big guns are in. Boris Johnson, the former Prime Minister. So we're going to be there again next week to catch on what Boris Johnson will be telling us. So infrastructure, is what the president says we need a law. We're also going to be investing in the water, in agriculture, and likewise security. This is what the loan is going to be used for, according to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as he delivers his budget yesterday at the Senate floor, where many Nigerians this morning are asking the question, what does the budget mean to me and my family?
Interestingly, when Buhari was the president, there was these monies that were being paid to some people. I think they were giving to them, whether loans or grants.
These were called, because we were calling the vice president then Babagbo Wuri, a man that moves with the money. It was a kind of, I remember meeting him at the Alimosho local government, and this was just, part of the, the lies, because what they did was they used that, to campaign. Many of those that took those loans have never paid back anyway, so it was just more like dashing Nigerian some freebies.
Because why I'm asking that is, they'll go and take all these monies and they will say, okay, we're going to put some in agriculture, okay, infrastructure, that it doesn't end up, it's not supposed to end up in individuals' pockets. But we know that they give maybe reconstruction here, this buildings here, or that to get the infrastructure and everything. But when it comes to monies that are going for maybe agriculture sector, where it has to go to individuals or a group of people, as whether they do it on merit, or if you belong to their party, that is when you are going to get it, or whoever is the head of whatever, maybe you are coming from their state or their region, that's what they're going to be doing. How do you think, like this eminent or renowned economist has said, Bismarck Rwani has said that it doesn't matter what you are doing, but as to whether individuals hearing all this are going to feel it in their pockets. Yummy.
I remember saying on the Niger Voices yesterday, may God bless one of my uncle, as I completed my secondary school, every time there was a budget then, being read out, he wants us to break it down. And, how does the budget affect, the average Nigerian? What do you feel, when budgets are read on a yearly basis? We have 774 local government in Nigeria today. How does that budget materialize into your community? How do you feel the impact of the budget, and what can be done if those impacts are not there? Because many Nigerians today are not asking questions, and those of us that are asking questions, I remember somebody saying to me yesterday that I talk too much, and I say, well, that's the job of the journalist. The journalist is meant to be talking. I am not a doctor that practice practical. We talk, we analyze things, and we try to bring it in a way that you will understand. So the President Bola Tinubu says, this time around, his budget will be doing so much, but it seems that the opposition, the PDP, disagree with him. And this morning, the PDP says Designed to strangulate poor Nigerians, the PDP faulted proposed 27 trillion 2024 budget. The opposition party said the budget framework with respect to recurring expenditure vote of 9.9 trillion. Remember that we will be paying back 8 trillion, in terms of our debt. Capital expenditure voted of 8.7 trillion, and 8.25 trillion for debt services is unsustainable. The Nigerian debt continued to grow. Bishop Adesina spoke to us yesterday. There's nothing wrong in getting a loan, but the problem is loans that Buhari took where they built that railway, and it seems that some Nigerians decided that maybe it's another freebies, and they've been doing what they called racketeering, where you are not paying. It cost me almost £13 to travel yesterday. Imagine if the TFL doesn't get hold of that £13 and somebody else is getting it. Multiply that by the thousands of people that travel on the train network. I was at the Paddington train station. I was also at the Farringdon. I traveled through the Elizabeth line. All these lines function. If loan has been taken for it, at least we saw what it is used for. As against in Nigeria, when trains and other projects are produced, sometimes they are not up to the quality. And that is why something like the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been going on for almost 20 years without any finishing to it.
Well, listeners, Star Radio UK updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olaimi Koike in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you all that you need to know. And my able producer is making sure I am warm, bringing me some hot stuff to warm me up. Thank you very much, Mr. Francis Guy. Okay. Now, interesting. Now, I wanted to look at one other area where we are looking at accountability. Now, yesterday we did talk about the COVID inquiry that is going on, and we said that they will try to find out not actually a criminal inquest, no, but to find out, to learn lessons and things that need to be done next time so that we don't do those same mistakes and then end up. But if the government is coming out with all this money, is there a tendency or is there a place where we are able, as citizens of Nigeria, to check whether those monies were used for the purposes? And if not, what actions are going to be taken about that? Will the president say anything about that? No.
Well, accountability is very, very important, and we expect accountability in this new administration. Most importantly, if this government is serious about fighting corruption, then it will have to start from the internal. That means that it needs to have a lot of inquiries set up, how things were managed, in the last administration. But it seems that is not even happening yet, because even after 6 months of the office, Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu failed to uphold human rights, according to the Amnesty International. So you can tell that as much as many of us are expecting accountability, maybe next month, which is just less than a few hours here now, Nnamdi Kanu return back again to the court, where the Supreme Court will make judgment, and let's see if the institution under this administration will respect that, because we've seen the failure of not respecting the institution like the judiciary. When they give order, it seems that the EFCC is just doing its own thing, while the Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, is now saying that the military is acting like a Boko Haram after an attack at the Adamawa police station headquarters. It now shows that not just Boko Haram, we also have the Nigerian military also called Boko Haram. I didn't say so. This is what the Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, said some few days ago.
Well, if the Inspector General of Police calls the military Boko Haram, then he has the grounds to say it, because he has the proof to say, because he is the one who is supposed to see to the peace and the security in the country. Yes? So if he's calling them that. But after 6 months in office, Nigeria's President Tinubu failed to uphold human rights. Amnesty International is saying. Now, is it because he is not seen to it to say that, look, Dr. Chisande Igboho is a free man. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can come to the country. There is nothing against him. Whatever quest that he was fighting for, they see that it's a genuine thing, and nobody should do anything. And Nnamdi Kanu as well. I mean, look at him. How many times have he been to court? And we're thinking that maybe the president coming in will come and say that, well, I'm because somebody who was also being pursued at the time and they had to flee the country, will also now sit down and say, you know what, let's free people who are fighting for the cause of their people fairly. But nothing has been heard. You know what I mean?
Well, nothing has been heard because, again, this is a new administration. 6 months down the line, it thinks that, the Amnesty International believe that the human rights agenda for Nigeria, although the Nigerian Constitution, the 1999 Constitution, contains provision of human rights, Nigeria also ratifies several human rights treaties, including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and also the African Charter on the Human Rights and People's Rights. The country has also been plagued, by decades of human rights violation and abuses perpetrated by both the state and the non-state actor. Amnesty International has previously documented numerous human rights violations in the country, yet victims continue to be denied access to justice and effective remedies. I was listening to another very beautiful, investigative journalist known as Dr. Kemi Olunloyo this morning, and like he said, just as journalists are now running out of the country because of the humane and also attack. Let me take you back to the 80s. There was a brilliant journalist known as Dele Giwa that was also killed. I mean, you would think, how did we get to as at the 80s when a letter bomb was actually sent to him? As at the time, it was a military dictator, and that was Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. President Tinubu administration must guarantee, ensure the respect for human rights of everyone in the country. In Nigeria, the right to freedom of expression, media freedom are routinely violated. Occasionally, security offices of forces threatening, arrest and detain journalists, bloggers, human rights defenders, activists, people like Showore. During the 2023 general election, at least 42 journalists were attacked. And sometimes people say we are still not in war. I mean, even during the war that we are seeing taking place in the Middle East and Ukraine, we have not seen up to 42 journalists being killed. But 42 journalists were attacked, harassed, beaten, or denied access to cover the election. And that is why people say, why not come back home, somebody like me, knowing fully well that coming home will be a threat to my human right that I'm enjoying in this country. So we always say, we hope that international community will continue to hold this administration, just as we saw how the former President Muhammadu Buhari commits so much genocide in the southeast by killing many people that led to even Twitter removing one of its tweets. And he also decided, well, if that is the case, I shut down Twitter in Nigeria. You can see the kind of power that sometimes the African president abused. Remember that Nigerians use Twitter not just to communicate. Some make their money out of Twitter, and for 6 months, there was no economy running between Nigerians' activities on the Twitter.
Well, listeners, it's quite an interesting one. We say we are practicing democracy, the rule of law. As whether whatever goes on is the rule of law, it's another question. You can answer it and I can answer it as well. You know me saying that when they say, oh, come to Nigeria, come and do that now, because I see that the kind of democracy that they are practicing there, or the rule of law, is not the rule of law. That's why
well, yesterday during the COVID inquiry, I noticed, I'm sure you probably noticed that we had some individuals behind me. They are from University College London.
Yeah.
They are first year undergraduate. I was able to communicate with them. They asked few of what we were saying because they knew that I was speaking back to the studio. We had engagement, and when I told them that what we are fighting for, it seems that some Nigerians abuses us. One of them said, Jesus Christ. I mean, you could feel that many Nigerians do not understand what it means when it comes to freedom, and that is why we say all the time, we don't have any problem with any government. But what we are saying is we want the right of every Nigerian, regardless of wherever they are in Nigeria, to be respected, even though the 1999 Constitution says so, but the government do not accept it. And they want to govern us on the same 1999 Constitution.
And they'll tell you, oh, it's a rule of law. It's a rule of law. Well, when it suits them, it's the rule of law. But when it doesn't, well, as it happened to Mr. Oyekami, who was the director of finance and accounts at the governor's office. He went to a bank to withdraw money and ended up losing his life. But first of all, before you come to that story, now, are we still in a time where we send people out to go to the banks to go and cash huge sums of money to bring how is online transactions going on in Nigeria?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, Nigeria is catching up when it comes to, moving money from, bank to, I mean, from individual without literally, but again, it's still a country that heavily depend on cash transaction. Sometimes, I mean, week goes by. I mean, I hardly see cash in this country. Not that I don't have the cash in my account, but because almost everything you do is moving from point A to B, and that way it's also secured. But you'll be expecting how come, government officials in 21st century are still moving heavy load of cash. Well, again, Nigeria happened to one individual, and the picture is just behind there, as you can tell. We're talking about the armed robbers that killed the Ogun finance director with a bullion van ambush. I believe this is an inside job. It might have been taking this kind of money in the past. Like we always say, the country is not secured. And if in Ogun State this is happening, you might as well think about what is happening in the northern part of the country where many such attack goes by. But again, we pray for the family and also the state, Ogun State. I'm from Ogun State myself. But the Commissioner of Police of Ogun State, Abiodun Alamutu, on Wednesday night, have now confirmed the killing of Mr. Taiwo Oyekami, the Director of Finance and Account attached to the office of the Governor Dapo Abiodun at Okemosun, Abeokuta. Alamutu was gunned down while returning from the bank where he had taken a bullion van to withdraw some funds for the state. Whatever the money was meant for, like I said, investigation needs to continue. But when investigative journalists like David Odoye, Fisayo, Dr. Kemi Olunloyo, and many of such, investigate this crime, they are also the one that end up being attacked because it seems that somebody is protecting somebody. Just like we've been monitoring the death of Mohbad, it seems now that the good guns are now trying to cover up what actually happened and led to the death of that young artist.
Well, listeners, we will not ever finish with all the miracles. I call them miracles that happen in Africa. Yes? But, well, we'll make sure we bring you everything that we need to know. 11:36 is the time. I will leave Yomi to bring you the rest of the stories and what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, Yomi.
Once again, we pray for the family of this young man with the wife, the children, and the state as well. We hope that investigation will quickly and we'll be able to find out what led to the death of this finance director that was killed in Abeokuta, Okemosun yesterday. Well, again, gunmen killed 7 in a fresh attack in Plateau State. It's another sad story coming from Nigeria. Gunmen have reportedly attacked 2 communities in Plateau State, killing 7 persons. The victims were said to have died following attack by the assailant in Puka and Pimpa community of Mangu local government area of the state in the early hours of today. It was learned that while the 6 men and a lady were killed in Puka and Pimpa community. Okay, can you still hear me? Because there's another.
Yes, go on. I can hear you.
All right. It was learned that while the 6 men and the lady were killed in Puka community, the gunmen also stole sheep and other domestic animals in Pimpa community. So it seems that this one has got to do with people that came to steal, community domestic animals, but end up killing as well. Well, again, Punka community, Mangu local government area of this Plateau State came under heavy attack at the early hours of this morning, just as we've seen the same attack in the southwest part of Nigeria. These attacks continue, and the question is, while the military that is meant to support the police to do the job to protect Nigerians, as the Inspector General of Police says that they are the same Boko Haram that end up going into the police station in Adamawa and end up killing, those officers. The question to many Nigerians is, we now have the new sheriffs in town. Why are we still getting this sort of attack continuously? TUC 6 end to workplace violence and harassment. We just talked about sexual harassment for those that travel on the London Underground or Overground in London. You do not put your body too close to someone. It will be classified as sexual harassment. In Nigeria, not just work violence has happened. Also, we've seen, especially the women, and the young girls, being sexually harassed by their boss, and most of them probably won't say anything. I remember, one of our mothers said to me that as far back as in the 90s, all are said had to have some kind of sexual engagement with their boss so that they can be able to retain the job that they were offered. This is as far back as in the 90s. This is still happening, most importantly, not just in the banking sector, but almost most work private and government owns as well. The president of the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, has now called for strict enforcement of the International Labour Organization Convention C-190 recommendation 206, which seek to address the right of everyone to the world of work devoid of violence and harassment. He said it is only when such recommendations are implemented and enforced that gender-based violence and harassment in the world of work can be eliminated. Osifo made the call in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State yesterday while speaking at the 3-day 2023 annual seminar organized by the TUC Women Commission with the theme Projecting Ways to Eliminate Gender-Based Violence and Harassment from the World of Work. It is good that we see all these events happening, seminars and all such, but implementing it is another thing that we talked about all the time. 11:40, we take one or two more from the news, and then we go straight into what is happening on the social media space, especially with the budget that have just been read. Governor Alia urged hunters to sharpen skills in tackling crime in Benue State. Benue is meant to be the food basket of Nigeria, but it has been under heavy attack by the Fulani terrorists, the ISWAP, the ISIS. The governor is now advising them to respect the right of the law-abiding citizen. Operatives of the Nigerian Hunters and Forestry Security Service has been advised to sharpen their skills in combating crime in Benue State. The state governor, Ayasinta Alia, gave this charge on Wednesday during the closing of another 4-day capacity training at the 72 Special Force Battalion in Makurdi. Like I said, Benue State has been under serious attack most of the time, and we hope that the security operatives will do much as well. Well, it seems that, when politicians attack each other, you can tell that, some kind of monetary hasn't happened between them again. 1.2 billion airlifted for Fayoshe's election, Obanikoro tells the court. Fayoshe was a one-time governor, former governor of Ekiti State, but also Obanikoro is well known within the political realm in the country. A former minister of the state defense, Musiliu Obanikoro, yesterday told Justice Inamdi Dingba of the Federal High Court in Abuja that the sum of 1.2 billion naira cash was airlifted to former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayoshe for the 2014 governorship election in the state. You can tell that this is why Emefiele wanted to, color change the money so that whoever politicians held so much money to use during the election would not be able to use it. And it seems that, like they say, Tinubu is now using his head to break kola nut. Fayoshe is facing trial by the EFCC alongside his firm, Spotless Investment Limited, following their alleged involvement in 6.9 billion money laundering. You can swipe, some say, stop talking, while we are saying, well, we have to keep talking because these are staggering amount of money. These are taxpayers' money that should have been used for purpose, but it seems that has not happened. Let's go a little bit further. When Prosecution Counsel Wahab Shitu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, asks Obanikoro to shed light on the source of the said amount, the ex-minister said he did not know the source of the money and that he only got information on the money from the former national advisor, the security advisors are then, Colonel Sambo Dasuki. I'm sure many Nigerians will remember Dasuki very well. It just shows that this was the PDP as at the time. It shows that the inept of a country that needs help, and that is why some of us are saying maybe we should just, disfragment this country so that we can be able to tackle all this corruption. These are staggering amount of money. When you go to Ekiti today, you will cry for many of the indigenes there because things have become much more poorer than even as it was before. Well, what is trending? It seems that Tinubu, I'm just getting the image, Tinubu likes this kind. Let's get this out. King Charles, I didn't know that he's also at Dubai. It seems that the image is just being popped out 16 minutes ago. And let's see if the engineer can give us, the background of that before we give you, the story to that as well. Once again, you're still listening to the Star Radio UK Network, the morning show, 11:43. I'll be returning back to Archie in just about a few minutes. Let's talk about the president with what we are getting from the Twitter, the X handle of the president. And as we get that image up in just a few minutes, and right there, that is King Charles and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And what do we know? What are they saying? I had a productive meeting with His Majesty King Charles III of England, who is also the head of the Commonwealth. Many people have complained about being a Commonwealth that doesn't work for us, but that's another conversation for another day. A passionate climate advocate. The meeting was a significant step in strengthening the partnership between Nigeria and United Kingdom. I am optimistic about the positive impact our joint effort will have on our planet future as we look forward to setting an equitable global standard for environmental stewardship at the COP28. Well, let's look at what some are saying. Salawu says, ordained president from heaven, Akambi. Aluta Queen says, you go, they speak English for Twitter. They press our neck with hardship for real life. You this man. Pastor Okeze said, God bless you, Mr. President. And Michael said, Chief Tinubu, please resign now. You do not have the solution to Nigerian problems. People are suffering, experiencing hardship. You and your APC co-traveler should quit now. Another one said, nobody asked for this information, Egbon. You can tell that Nigerians use that only space to get their voices held for those of us that wants to hear it as well. So that is King Charles there behind you. Hashtag Biafra referendum is trending this morning. Hashtag President Bola Tinubu is also trending. I'm not sure why Hillary Clinton is trending on the Nigerian thread this morning, but I can tell you that the Home Office is trending. We can tell that many Nigerians are still affected as they are claiming asylum, even though the Supreme Court says no one is going to be taken to Kenya for the time being, or Rwanda rather, but many Nigerians still have what they call immigration issues. ID Kabasa is trending. I think that is most of what is trending this morning. But let's look at the general views at 11:45 this morning once again. As we say, may Nigeria not happen to any one of us. Well, according to, there's another news popping out, Asari Dokubo saying Benin founded Lagos State shows how unintelligent some people are. That is historically patriotism, Asari Dokubo. Well, that has been going on because the Oba of Benin traveled to Lagos State and says, Benin was founded by, Lagos was founded by Benin people, and that has generated a lot of conversation this morning. Also, according to the government in exile of the Biafra Information, Media and Communication, good morning Biafra, I appreciate Biafran Liberation Army that has been fighting this insecurity in the southeast and protecting as many of those in that region since the Boko Haram military in Nigeria refused to protect them. So they've set up their own security outfit, and they say it will exist as long as they remain in Nigeria until they fine-tune a referendum or a negotiation whether the Biafra wants to stay in Nigeria or not. That is how far we can go this morning. I'm going to return back again to you in the studio. And just before I come back, the Alba Party in Scotland says they want to also break away from the United Kingdom. And we know that the former First Minister, Alex Salmond has been the lead of that. And, each time I go on their Twitter, this morning he says, more than 10 years ago, this is exactly the sort of initiative I would have taken if David Cameron had refused a Section 30 referendum. Indeed, I had a draft with a similar question in an advanced stage of the preparation, just in case. No doubt that fact concentrated the mind of the Westminster Wonderful. This is coming from the former First Minister of Scotland, now the leader of the Alba Party, that are saying that they want to have a second referendum to decide whether the Scottish wants to remain as part of the Union. So when those that are saying that the Yorubas that are asking for self-determination do not have a right, the question is, if that right is going to happen with the Scottish, the Yoruba also have the right, just like the Arewa, just like the Biafra. That is Star Radio UK this morning news update. The day is still the 30th of November, 2023. In the next few hours, we'll be saying Happy New Month to December.
Listeners, bringing you everything that you need to know when it comes to Nigeria. But before we leave there, we're looking at the fact that I've talked about democracy and I thought that it works, and I talked about the rule of law, and that's why the Scottish were allowed to have a referendum. Let your people decide. They really wanted to be part of the UK, and that referendum took place, and they said a majority of them said they wanted to remain. At least they've been given the chance. Maybe a few years down the line or down the road, they will go for another one, and then they will see whether they still want to be part of it. But when it comes to people saying, yeah, we want the rule of law, or we are in a democracy, and people are not being allowed, being shut down and stuff like that, then I beg to differ there. Okay, and then secondly, what is this about the formation of Lagos State? Tell me about Benin, the people of Benin. Where do they come from? Who are they?
Well, to be honest with you, it's been you can tell that when Obasanjo, the former president, a military dictator in '76, decided to remove history, maybe just to think that some of us will forget, the killings and the genocide that took place during the Biafra War. Maybe some of us will forget what happened at the amalgamation, the slave trade. These are histories that have now been, kind of changed around. And when, a king like that comes in and say Lagos is no man's land, it belongs to the Benin people. Well, it seems that some are already coming out to defend that, to say, well, maybe the king himself needs to go back and, revisit history. And again, when history has been distorted, we were told lies that Mungo Park founded River Niger, until some of us now realize that it was never even Mungo Park that even saw River Niger. Maybe his even great-grandfather never saw it. But again, the history of Lagos has, even I saw another post, I have to verify that, where now some are now putting it at the state level to change that name Lagos, because they believe that it's got intonation to the Portuguese 500 years ago.
Yeah, Lagos was named after by the Portuguese. That name was given by the Portuguese. But are the Benin people, are they Yoruba people, or which part of?
Well, some believe that they are still part of that Yoruba, but again, like I said, I don't have the full history of such. But what I can say is that there's been a lot of debunking to that. And some said even the king traveled, left Ondo State, left Oyo State, come to Lagos and say that Lagos belongs to the Benin. And they can say Oba.
What does that mean?
Well, we'll have to ask those from that region.
Well, listeners, you cannot get this from anywhere apart from Star Radio UK. Yami, let me say thank you very much for this wonderful update.
Have a very good morning, and I'll leave you in the hands of the good hand of Archie for the rest of the program. I'll be back again tomorrow. The Friday will be the 1st of December, 2023. Bye for now, Mr. Archie.
Bye-bye, Yomi. Have a lovely day. All right, listeners, that has been Mr. Laimi Koike bringing you updates from...
Abi, Akbaroni. I know back where you have so much problem to talk about, And so they get to divert things, crazy country, wahala country where wahala no go finish. Anybody wey say the wahala go finish, you are wasting your time. The wahala in Nigeria will continue forever and ever until we all decide interfere. People don't know what they want now. When Nigerians know what they want, they will fight back. That's all I can say. Now they want the person we go to come stress themselves, Abi. We they tell you say the country is not working. There's so much disunity amongst us. But the same people, they want attack our, they can't attack us. So they attack you now. So, okay, easy dollar, okay, on lórí social media. So Abi went to mama sọ̀rọ̀ lójoojúmọ́. Abi wá solution sí Nigeria. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ rí solution o. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kẹ́ rí solution. Solution yẹn máa rí. Ó kù díẹ̀ ni. Solution tí gbogbo wọn wá yẹn Ọlọ́run máa jẹ́ ká rí. We all know that is a lie. We can never get a solution to the mo kí ọpẹ́. Mo kí àwọn Koiki Media team. Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ẹ fẹ́ máa wojú wa lójoojúmọ́. A ti fún yín ní solution. A ní solution yẹn kò ń ṣe election kankan mọ́. Mo kí ìyàwó Fúnkẹ́ Kòsọ́kọ́ Ọ̀gbọ́nbíadé mo kí yín mà. A ní election ò lè solve problem tó wà ní Nàìjíríà. Dá mi lóhùn, both sides is loud and clear. Okay, mo fẹ́ sọ pé dá mi lóhùn. So I think what I need to be doing is mo ní láti jẹ́ kí speaker náà wà on while the mic is on as well, so that wàá lè máa pick tí Archie bá ń sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn tó wà lórí mixer lára mo bá sọ̀rọ̀ because ibi táwọn ti máa ń gbọ́ wa nìyẹn, and every platform is important to me. So when a platform is down, it affects everything that we do. So ẹ̀yin tí wá ẹ wá fọkàn balẹ̀ ẹ ká ṣàmà ká focus Mr. Koiki ìgbà wo ló máa wá bọ́ sí ẹ má wọrí ní ìgbà tó fẹ́ bọ́ sí kò tí yẹ everybody ní now so you know tó bá ti yẹ everybody wá àmọ́gbà tó máa bọ́ sí easy okay ìyàwó Grace Olúṣòótọ́ mo kí n mọ̀ kò tí dòun ni ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí King Charles sọ nísìn so I'm just gonna go straight into another program because if I can end there ká tó ṣe máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ so but what I would love to do because I want to make sure that the Star Radio one keeps to itself so ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí bíbá mo máa end there so that màá lè upload there sórí Koiki Media because a ṣe máa lọ live lórí Koiki Media nísìnyí so those of you on the Koiki Media Oduduwa we're gonna end the broadcast but I'm gonna come back in just about a few minutes ẹ má bínú sí mi.